Buffalo Bills had 13 penalties for 93 yards, and we all know that's almost a length of a football field. But in this video, I want to talk about some of the bright spots that came, especially later in the game. But first, I want to start with these penalties. Who committed the penalties? What penalties were committed? Are they more on offense, on defense? And really the series of how everything unfolded, to include Matt Barkley's 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble. I mean, there's a reason why the Buffalo Bills lost this preseason Week 2 game versus the Steelers. But welcome to my channel, Bills News Consolidated. We want to talk about the first series of this game. You know, to start the first offensive series for the Buffalo Bills. What happens on special teams? Kingsley Jonathan negated a 27-yard punt return by Andy Isabella, putting us in great field position for Josh Allen in this offense, but it was negated because of a holding penalty. That was the only penalty that was called on special teams. Now, moving on to that same series of football on offense, the first time being out there on this football field, Sean McDermott talking all week. Last week was unacceptable with penalties and alignments. Sure enough, we come out here and Spencer Brown, the very first freaking play of the game, one of the very first plays of the game, Spencer Brown gets called for a block above the waist, which negated a 6-yard pass to Deontay Hardy. The very next play, Connor McGovern, our new highest paid free agent signing this offseason at left guard, gets called for a false start, which made it 2nd and 24 for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you know how unlikely that is to complete. And then on the very next play, Josh Allen dances in the pocket, completes a 35-yard pass to Gabe Davis, but it gets called back because of a holding on Spencer Brown. Now, that's 2 penalties on Spencer Brown on the first series of offensive series here. And yes, I mean, you're going against J.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward. You're going against some top-notch talent on the Pittsburgh Steelers, premier edge rushers. And I really think the one pass to Gabe Davis for 35 yards was absolutely unbelievable to see. But I don't believe Josh Allen would have been able to get that off if it wasn't for the holding that Spencer Brown committed. Now, more on offense here. We had 3 false starts. Quentin Morris, which made it 1st and 15. A false start on Dion Dawkins, which made it 2nd and 16. And then a false start on our first-round rookie, which made it 2nd and 13. Now, keep in mind, this is when we made a shift from Josh Allen to Matt Barkley, and there was some communication issues, some rhythm type issues. I mean, there's a different voice in there, especially when you're working with a different quarterback. I don't want to make excuses, but still, there was still that. And then later in the game, obviously a huge negative with Tommy Doyle. Looks like he hurt his other leg here, so he could very well be out for the entire season, especially after losing Brandon Shell from retirement the week before. David Quessenberry stepped in and did very, very well, so we have to see. But Tommy Doyle did commit a penalty, unnecessary roughness. Ball was intercepted on the play, so Matt Barkley threw one of his interceptions on this play. Tommy Doyle committed an unnecessary roughness, and then it added 13 yards onto that interception. So it put them in such a great field position, but not really helping this defense. Speaking of our defense, the Bills did commit some penalties here. There was an interference penalty on Christian Benford, and it gave the Steelers a first down, and that was on a 3rd and 8. So 3rd and 8 for the Steelers. Christian Benford gets called for pass interference, gives him a fresh set of downs. There was a low block on Damar Hamlin. You know, Damar Hamlin seeing a huge 300-pound offensive lineman coming at him, and he went low on him, gets called for a 15-yard low block. And what did it do? It put the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were in their territory, went from the Pittsburgh Steelers 39-yard line into the Buffalo Bills red zone into the Buffalo Bills 44-yard line. Then we had 3 pass interference calls, 1 on A.J. Klein, which is definitely, debatable. A.J. Klein was very upset with it, but the pass was incomplete, and it moved the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was in the red zone. It moved the Steelers from the Bills 7-yard line to the 1 1-yard line, right? And then after that, our defense held strong. And then on third down, Kaiir Elam gets called for pass interference. It gave the Pittsburgh Steelers a fresh set of downs after we stopped them. That was 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Kaiir Elam gets called, giving them a fresh set of downs. Later in the game, another pass interference call by Ciaran Neal. It was first down within the red zone after the Barkley interception. So Barkley threw that interception, and then he gets called for pass interference. Ciaran Neal gives them a fresh set of downs, and they come away with a field goal. So between the penalties, between Tommy Doyle going down with an injury, a lot of people are hyping off the train of Tyrel Dotson. They're hyping off the train of Ciaran Neal, which to me is a little bit mind-boggling. And later this week, we're going to do some game film study reviews. But really, I want to talk about the bright spots of this team. How about Jordan Mims really reading and running and scoring that touchdown for the Buffalo Bills? And then at the very end of the game that no one is talking about for Bills Mafia is actually Kyle Allen driving this team through 2 minutes, marching all the way down the field and scoring a touchdown to Justin Shorter, who also looked excellent on that final drive of the game for the Buffalo Bills offense. Matt Barkley obviously struggled. 3 interceptions, a fumble, and you add all the penalties that we had. We really couldn't get into a rhythm of this game, and I really think it's going to be super hard to evaluate these players just because there was no flow or rhythm. There was no groove or really getting into the game because it was disrupted by penalties almost every other play. So the Buffalo Bills really flashed on that final drive of the game. Kyle Allen versus Matt Barkley. When we talk about grading out, how do they grade out? I really think Kyle Allen is definitely going to grade out a lot better than Matt Barkley. After hearing Ken Dorsey last week say that they graded out the same, right now Kyle Allen definitely has the leg up on Matt Barkley to be the Buffalo Bills backup quarterback for this upcoming season. Now, I really think that was such a bright spot. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, we're going to pick Justin Shorter now over Andy Isabella. Keep in mind, Andy Isabella contributed on special teams, had that 27-yard punt return that was negated by penalty. Also had multiple receptions that were taken back by penalty versus the Steelers. And I really think he is really fighting for a spot for this roster. Justin Shorter scored the touchdown, but again, I really think it had a lot to do with Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen was slinging the ball. He was moving in the pocket efficiently, and I don't know. We talked about Dane Jackson just being in the right spot at the right time last week with that interception. Really think that you still have to run the route. You still have to catch the ball. You still have to read the quarterback. You still have to intercept it. But any wide receiver on this team, if that was Gabe Davis, he would have scored, right? If that was Khalil Shakir, I believe he would have scored. Really, majority of wide receivers, if they ran that route, if they were in that same position, they probably would have scored a touchdown there just because the defense really didn't read it. Kyle Allen put a freaking magical ball right on Justin Shorter. So I really liked it. Now, Justin Shorter did use his body, and it was a great reception there. But I really think the final drive of the game was such a bright spot, including this offensive line really holding up well for Kyle Allen. The third string, the depth players on this team. It's absolutely huge, Bills Mafia. And I really think Josh Allen obviously didn't throw any interceptions, right? Took care of the football, decided to throw the ball away. We still saw the flash play between Josh Allen and Gabe Davis. Stephon Diggs getting involved, and also Dalton Kincaid, who didn't have a reception in that first week in that preseason game. Another bright spot for this team was seeing Dalton Kincaid actually get some passes, actually make some receptions. You could see his body control, his ability to slice and dice in the middle of the field. It is going to be absolutely huge for Bills Mafia. And on a side note, I want to wrap this video up with what Rob Gronkowski recently said on the Kay Adams show, saying that a dual tight end threat is the most dynamic thing an offense can have in the NFL, and he knows that playing at New England. He said it opens up an offense so much more so than any other thing. It allows you to call plays and do things amazingly. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like, subscribe. It really supports my efforts for even making that penalty graphic at the very beginning of this. But I really appreciate all of you, and go Bills.